I just saw a video of myself from the most unhappy point in my life literally ever. I was so miserable. If you were here with me at the time, this was pretty much all of 2022. Doesn't matter, but it was like literally my rock bottom. And I looked so ugly. And I'm giving myself grace, and I don't say that from a judgmental place. It's not that I'm saying I'm ugly, like, wow, I should have looked better at the most unhappy part of my life. It's that one of my most woo-woo beliefs is that your physiology is literally reflective of directly how miserable or happy you are. And maybe that's like a vague, obvious statement to make, but it's insane how unrecognizable you can become with high cortisol, high stress. And I could really go in on things around like the wellness industry and how it really does not matter. As someone that has a whole pull-out drawer of supplements, it does not matter how many supplements you take, how many weird drinks that you have, how many L-theanines you can swallow down. I've tried it all, trust me. None of that can mask misery. If you're miserable, you're gonna look ugly. It's gonna come out in your physical attributes. Some people are lucky and it actually doesn't. But if you're literally getting hormonally disrupted because of how unhappy or stressed or miserable that you are, you're literally gonna get ugly. And I did lose weight. That was part of it. Part of it was that I was dealing with a lot of unworthiness and shame and depression. I was not good. I was literally not good. And weight loss is going to make anyone typically look better if it's necessary weight loss, if they are overweight. But in my case, it wasn't even just being overweight in a way that was like because of the fact that I was unhappy and unhealthy. It was also the fact that my face was completely round. My like eyebrows and eyes were literally like more shut. Like they weren't able to, I wasn't as expressive, like in a happy, positive way. My bone structure was different. And since that time in my life, I don't recognize myself. Who I am on a foundational level has changed. My personality has changed. The way that I do life has changed. My actual circumstances in life have done a complete 180. Like literally who I was then is not comparable to who I am now. And you can literally see it in my looks, and it's just insane. And I knew at the time I was unhappy and depressed. It was not a secret. And I knew at the time that my looks were not at their highest potential. And I knew that the two went together. Like, it's not that insane of a breakthrough to have, but I didn't know I looked that bad. And it's just so crazy how, like, even controversial the idea of like beauty and health and happiness and stability become like one conversation, because a lot of the cosmetic procedures that we get and the beauty products that we purchase are only artificially mimicking health and happiness. And we can see it like in these are the things that start to upset people. But like if you look at the wife of someone who is married to a husband who perhaps doesn't really care about their wife or their passions or what they want, anything like that, the wife usually is ugly. And I'm not saying ugly like she's not conventionally attractive or she doesn't have good features or she's like an ugly human at her core, but because typically someone who's exhausted, tired, miserable, embarrassed, ashamed, has low self-worth, it comes through in ugly features, because those features come across as ugly because they mimic low health. And if we look at someone who, and I'm using women as an example because I'm a woman and this is just my experience. I was in a relationship that was making me very unhappy. I had a lot of home and family stuff that was making me an entirely overstressed, overworked woman. And I didn't feel like I had any support or leisure or these like pleasurable outlets in life. So if we look at a woman who perhaps does have those things, even if she's like conventionally unattractive, or if she's like aged and older, like really at the end of the day, it's not aging that's the problem. It's not needing to fit a certain beauty standard. There's people who exude radiance because you can tell they're good, as opposed to people who might have the best makeup, have the best products, get all the procedures, and there's still something like uncanny reading as ugly or unattractive due to the fact that like human radiance isn't coming through because they're not in a good spot. Do you understand what I'm saying? I don't know, because then we can get into like classism and systemic factors of all of this. But God, it even bleeds into a whole nother conversation of like growing up low income and people who grow up with that, without access to basic resources, or that don't have access to even like good food. Like the health and beauty is just it's something I could talk about all day. And typically, like if you grow up low income or you're broke or homeless or something like that, you can see these consistencies of people that have certain, like a cortisol body shape, very large stomach, usually a very larger back, very skinny legs, or people that have like hypermobility things going on. It's just crazy. And I'm very grateful that I can look back on these pictures and videos and be like, who is that? And again, I don't say it from a place of like shaming myself or being like, wow, I should have looked better. I'm just like, there's a moment of like, I feel bad for myself a little bit. I feel bad for that version of myself. Like, I wish I could have protected her more. But it's so interesting to see how, I think especially as a woman, like your body shape, I feel like can change. Like whether you're in a relationship that stresses you out and really drives you up the wall, or one that really embraces like your femininity. And I literally feel like your hips open more. Like there's so much that goes into it. Just an interesting observation. I'm glad I look the way I do now. I certainly like this better than how I looked before. But it's just crazy. I guess the takeaway is you can't mask misery. And if you want to look better, you want to be prettier, you want to be hotter, you can try all these little Band-Aid solutions. What's going to make you the hottest, most radiant, gorgeous version of yourself is literally removing the things out of your life that rob you of that rob you of your radiance, your beauty, your happiness, and really adding more valuable things into your life that give you more. And it's just like, that becomes the fuel. That becomes I have no makeup on right now. Are you joking? When I had no makeup on in 2022? When I had makeup on in 2022. Night and day difference. Just something to think about.